are the Penguin Colony interns. I'm Tasha.
I'm Hunter.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Kenzie.
I'm going to start by telling you guys a little bit about our day. So every day we start at 8 a.m. and we start by going into our penguin office and we pick out all the fish that we're going to feed the penguins for our 9 a.m. feeding. And they have a few different types of fish that they can have throughout the week. And it depends on the day for what fish they get. And we pick those out, we wash them, and we put them in the assigned bins for the Africans, the rockhoppers, the little blues, and then we have a separate one for holding for penguins that are downstairs off exhibit. And then we all get into our wetsuits and we get into the exhibit, and we have the 9 a.m. feeding, so everybody is fed at the same time. And then after they're all fed, we use up the rest of our time until the 11 a.m. talk every morning with doodlebugging to get the bottom of the exhibit clean, and we also algae scrub with grout brushes on all of our 6 islands. And then after the 11 o'clock talk, we all get out and we shower again. We get back into our normal clothes. We go to lunch for an hour, and then we come out of or off lunch break, and some of us get back into the exhibit to doodlebug again or algae scrub, and other people go upstairs onto the 4th floor and we get the fish for the next day. And then other people clean the office, so we call it kitchen. And basically you just take apart all the mats, you work on them so that we can disinfect them. And you wash down all the walls to get all the bacteria and any other fish guts or anything that might be in there off the walls. And then everybody's in exhibit. We feed the penguins again at 2:30. And then we doodlebug when there's 2 o'clock talk. And then we feed the penguins at 2:30. And then we doodlebug and algae scrub until everybody gets out around 4 o'clock usually. And then we finish the day with taking out the trash and the compost, and then that's it. All right, who's next?
All right, so I'm going to tell you about my favorite species, which is the little blue penguins. Little blue penguins are native to Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand. They stand at about 10 to 12 inches tall, weigh 2 to 3 pounds. I think we have around 33 in our colony, ranging anywhere from like 8 months old to 22 years old. One of the most common questions we get about them is, are those babies? And they are all full, surprisingly to most people, they're all full grown. They'll eat about 15 fish, or as many as we'll let them, which is surprising compared to the other bigger birds. And they're absolutely adorable.
So I'm going to tell you guys about the southern rockhoppers, which are my favorite species. So they're kind of the medium-sized species we have at the aquarium. So they stand between 15 and 17 inches tall and weigh between 5 and 7 pounds. A few common questions we get are those macaroni penguins, because macaroni penguins also have the crest, or are those the penguins from Happy Feet? That's a pretty common one. So the rockhoppers, my favorite fun fact that I usually tell during my talks is that the rockhoppers are really great jumpers. So they can jump their entire body height, which is why if any of you see us going into the exhibit in the rockhoppers, that's why we have that step there, because if we didn't, they'd be able to jump onto the platform and out of the exhibit, which would kind of be troubling. Yeah, so those are the rockhopper penguins, and they are part of that crested group of penguins, which means that they do have that yellow crest right above their eyebrows, which makes them look really nice.
So I'm going to talk about the African penguins, which have come to be my favorite. So there's about 50 of them, and they have very diverse personalities, especially when you're feeding them. There's some really aggressive ones and some really timid ones, and it's kind of cool when you're feeding them to see the different personalities come out. Some will like run up and get the fish, bite your hand while you're doing it, and then other ones you have to like reach as far as you can away from them, and they'll snatch it and run away. So it's pretty cool seeing all those personalities. Since they are the largest ones we have at the aquarium, some people get confused and think they're emperor penguins, and some of them, when they're molting, they get kind of fluffy, so people think they're pigeons. It's really confusing. But they're not. They're only about 22 inches tall, so they're about still on like the medium size, like what I like to say. They're not small, they're not medium, somewhere in the between. They're members of the banded family of penguins, so they have a black band across their chest and a spotted pattern on their belly. And something unique about them is that that banded pattern and the spots are all unique to each penguin, kind of like fingerprints are in humans. So it's really cool to sit there and notice all the penguins. Yeah.
So,
Are there any questions?
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, penguins are pretty popular.
I think you raised your hand first.
Yes, that's a great question. So the way we identify them is they have those bracelets on their wings, and it tells us two things. One, whether they're male or female. So all of the females have it on their right wing, all the males on the left. And then the color combination tells us the individual name because they all have names that are educational. And so when we're feeding them, we have a board, and on that board, it has column by column all of their names. And every time they get a fish, we do a tally mark. And then so we're able to go as we're feeding to look to see if we're missing any of them or if some of them don't have as much, and we try to seek them out, especially the timid ones.
Which species is the most difficult for taking care of, and which individual, or are there individuals that are notorious for?
I'm just gonna say real quick. There's a so in terms of individuals, Tuesdays are sardine days, and Keppel the rockhopper does not like sardines. She will not eat on sardine days.
Speaking of sardines days, they're nobody's favorite, but there's this one African named Seneca, and he will go out of his way to not bite the fish and specifically reach around and bite your hand because he's offended that you would offer him a sardine.
We also have penguins that will steal fish
Various.
various ways. Some will steal. Good Hope will steal, which is an African penguin, will steal from the bucket. He one time literally porpoised out of the water to try and get to the bucket.
You can lift the bucket and
He'll go for it. We have a few that will steal from other birds if they're more aggressive. We have one that will, so we have to rinse the fish in the salt water before we give it to them. So we have one